That's why they were able to produce a hydrogen bomb. Because only a beast could produce a hydrogen bomb.
That's right.
Huh? Because he wanted nature at a negative, on the beastly level. Right. So the concept that we run around talking about, I'm this religion and I'm that religion, we didn't have no religion.
That's right.
We had African spirituality. Finding yourself one with the universe. Something that the beasts that you see right here, represented as themselves, haven't dealt with yet. So the concept of Harmakit showing the suppressing of the beastly nature in man to rise up the son of Bunham. And by the way, my brother, let me mention that the Grecian maiden is on top of the Capitol building. Okay.
And they just took it down for cleaning too.
Oh, is that right?
Yes,
okay,
being cleaned right now.
Right. It's on top of the Capitol building in relationship with Brother Kope was saying.
Wow, that's deep, that's deep, that's deep.
And by the way, there's some brothers in Japan, and they also wanted me to let you know that they're over there. The brothers brought me all the way to Japan to lecture to them at, in Tokyo, Yokota, and Masawa. And these are brothers who are in the military. What? And got conscious while they were in the service. Got conscious while they were in the service. That's right. So they brought me over to lecture. And there were some in a place called Zama who unfortunately got caught with the beast. They married the cave woman. And outside of Zama, everything went smoothly. But the brothers and sisters over there were highly enlightened with the information. Only the brothers in Zama who realized that this was about African nation building, to bringing together us as an African people, and they realized that they had to give up the white wives. So they had a hard time with that, but I'll let them wrestle with that in their own dream state.
This is actually, Brother Aswad, the larger size version of the Boule's logo itself. This is off their rostrum. And as you can see, there's the urn, and there's something in the urn. Now, we've always talked about the circle within the circle as being part of that pursuit. Someone else looks at this and says, that's the 360 degrees of knowledge inside the urn. Is there any significance to that urn and that right paw being up?
I know that the symbol here,
you can use this.
Right off the top of my mind, I'm saying right off the top of my mind.
And I don't mean to put you on the spot either.
No problem, brother. I would say that this symbol represents the sun. That's how we represent the sun. It was a circle with a dot in the middle. Okay. That's how we represented the sun. The dot may have been the pineal gland. Also, go and look in the encyclopedia under the pineal gland, and it talks about the pineal gland. It develops your sexual behavior. Excretes the melanin, excretes from your pineal gland for your development of your sexual behavior. So if the pineal gland is activated by the sun, that our ancestors have Ra-Hamakis, or Hamakit, that the Greeks call a sphinx facing the east, if these folks did not live in the sun belt, that means they have an underdevelopment of the pineal gland.
That's right.
So this explains the beastly nature that you see out here today with all these freaks running around.
That's right.
With an underdevelopment of the pineal gland. Now, right off the top of my mind, I would say that represents the sun. And the sun is definitely bringing 360 degrees of life on this planet.
Yeah. Thank you, brother. Now, if we slide over here and look at the caption under the Manly Palmer Hall picture, we see that he has a dialogue here, a brother that further continues the disagreement. Isn't this interesting that where he got this analogy from was from Levi's Les Mysteries de la Kabbalah. The Mysteries of the Kabbalah is where Manly Palmer Hall wrote his analogy of the stolen legacy, saying that the Grecian Sphinx, see, when they call it Grecian Sphinx, they jump into a code language of just white people. The just white people version says that the Egyptian Sphinx is closely related to the Greek legend of Oedipus. The Greek legend of Oedipus, which has something to do about the killing of his father and the marrying of his mother. The killing of the father of the people to marry the mother of the people. Some of you want to say that, brother? That hit something? Okay. It says, and then it goes on to say Oedipus was the first one to solve the riddle of the Sphinx. It says, it goes on here, it says, discovering one who knew the answer to her riddle, the Sphinx cast herself from the cliff which bordered the road and perished. It says about the riddle. It mentions the riddle about. Let me just read it, just to read into the record for what it says, and we'll leave the interpretation for each and every one. Oedipus, who first solved the famous riddle propagandized by the mysterious creature with the body of a winged lion, the head of a woman. Set that next to it. The body of a winged lion, the head of a woman, and frequented the highway leading to Thebes. To each who passed her lyre, the Sphinx addressed the question: what animal is it that in the morning goes on 4 feet, at noon on 2 feet, and in the evening on 3 feet? Those who failed to answer her riddle, she destroyed. Those who failed to answer her riddle, she destroyed. Oedipus declared the answer to be man himself, who in childhood crawled upon his hands and knees, in manhood stood erect, and in old age scuffled along supporting himself by a staff. Discovering one who knew the answer to her riddle, the Sphinx cast herself from the cliff which bordered the road and perished. Maybe it is that there's a mystery behind them, and we solve the mystery related to them, that their ability to hide and keep something secret would be diminished, and that this diminishing will force them to self-destruct.
Sure.
Which means there may be an active goal of figuring out just what they are and what they're doing.
Yep. Sure.
It says here, there is still another answer to the riddle of the Sphinx. Now this is Manly Palmer Hall stuff. Best revealed by the consideration of the Pythagorean values of numbers. Of course, another stolen legacy, Pythagoras.
That's it, right. That's it.
The 4, the 2, and the 3 produce the sum of 9. Remember those 4 plus 4 and 1?
Right.
4 Greek female, 4 Greek male, 1. You know, the last of those fraternities were created in the 20s, the sororities. There's never been a 10th one, which is the natural number of man and also to the lower worlds. The 4 represents the ignorant man, the 2 the intellectual man, the 3 the spiritual man. Infant humanity walks on 4 legs, evolving humanity on 2 legs, and to the power of his own mind, the redeemed and illuminated Magnus adds the staff of wisdom. The Sphinx is therefore the mystery of nature, the embodiment of the secret doctrine, and all who cannot solve her riddle, and all who cannot solve her riddle, to pass the Sphinx is to attain personal immortality. Now that's into his description of the Greek version of the Sphinx, of which brother said there's no such thing. And that will one day lead us to find somewhere in their ritual. We believe that they'll give some honor and discussion to the use of this Grecian Sphinx to match out something or some parable that they're using internally. Now, are there any questions about the Boule?
Templars.
The Knights of Templars?
Yeah.
Templars. Satan with his hand up like that with the pentagram.
Ah.
The White House before you cut your throat before you become president. Why Jesse Jackson cannot become a president.
Dig that. That's powerful. And he mentioned this about the Knights of Templar, who in 1314, their Jacques de Molay was murdered, burned at the stake. And Clinton is in the order of de Molay. He's in the senior de Molays, who is the president. And the Knights of Templar are parabled into the Skull and Bones. In Skull and Bones, they talk about the Knights and the Knights of Templar. Yes, brother.
Didn't they mention the Prière des Saints?
What does that mean?
They evolved from the Templars. Matter of fact, there's a hidden secret that they propose that has something to do with Christ, which they hold over the head of the Vatican. They control the Vatican.
Who controls the Vatican?
Prière des Saints does. That's an organization that came out of the Templars. So they killed the Templars. They killed them off. But what happened was, a lot of the documents and the parchments, which they had got into it with the Saracens, and the Saracens first they took Jerusalem, and the order was from the at first the Pope used them to go in and get all the documents of the history and everything of what happened as far as Christ is concerned and further back. They brought all those documents back. When their usefulness was finished, that's when the Pope turned on them. But